G'day YouTubers, I will review round 1 of the 2024 AFL season. Before I start, it will be appreciated if you can subscribe to my channel. Returning back to the show, the first game of the week was between Carlton and Richmond at the MCG, at which 83,881 people attended the match. The final score was Carlton 12 goals 14, 86 to Richmond 12 goals 9, 81. The Blues won by 5 points. The best players for the Blues were McKay, Cripps, McGovern and Sard. The best players for the Tigers were Hopper, Bolter, Taranto and Nankervis. The goal kickers for the Blues were 3 goals to McKay, 2 goals to Owies and Curnow, and singles to Hollands, Kennedy, Sarah, Cottrell and De Cogning. The goal kickers for the Tigers were 3 goals to Bolter, 2 goals to Lynch and Martin, both returning back from injury, and singles to Campbell, Shaw, Maurice Rioli and Baker. The Blues won another close game, this time by 5 points. The Twin Towers of McKay and Curnow scored 5 of the Blues' 12 goals. At half-time, the Tigers led by a point, and at three-quarter time, they led by 8 points. With the 3 injuries to the Richmond players of Gibcus, Prestia and Young, the Blues overran the Tigers in the last quarter by scoring 3 goals to 1 and notching a 5-point win. Carlton dominated the inside 50s with 65-50 to be plus 15. Richmond won the clearances and centre clearances by 6 and 3 respectively. In tackles, Carlton were plus 14 and inside 50s they were plus 6. So the ball was kept in their final forward 50 longer. My 3-2-1 for the Brownlow are 3 to Cripps, who had 31 disposal, 4 contested, and 306 metres gained. 2 votes to Noah Bolter, with 23 disposal, 3 goals, and 306 metres gained. And 1 vote to McGovern, who had 26 disposals, 8 marks, and 595 metres gained, taking intercepting marks in defence to start the offence. The second game of the week was between Collingwood and Sydney at the MCG that had 78,933 people that attended the match. The final score was Collingwood 10 goals 9, 69 to Sydney 15 goals 12, 102. The Swans won by 33 points. The best players for Collingwood were Maynard, Penderby and Nick Dacos. The best players for Sydney were McCartan, Heaney, Chad Warner, Goulden and McDonald. The goal kickers for the Magpies were 2 goals to Schultz and Elliott, singles to Hill, McCready, Cameron, DeGoey, Josh and Nick Dacos. The goal kickers for the Swans were 4 goals to McDonald, 3 goals to Warner, 2 goals to Heaney, and singles to Amati, Papali, McLean, Rowbottom, Vicks, and McInerney. The Swans won easily and were leading by 51 points in the last quarter before conceding the last 3 goals of the match to win by 33 points. In general, Sydney had more players performing better, and it was a team performance, with each player doing their role. They showed more pressure with 21 more tackles than Collingwood. Based on the other stats, Sydney only had 13 more disposals, only won the inside 50s by 4. The Swans were more efficient in their forward 50, with a percentage of 51 compared to Collingwood's of 42%. Collingwood won the hitouts, clearances and including centre clearances, but lost the stoppages by 3. My 3-2-1 for the Brownlow are 3 to Chad Warner, who had 27 disposals, 3 goals, 4 tackles, 7 clearances, and 396 metres gain. Warner's class on the ball and kicking was first class. 2 votes to Heaney with 29 disposal, 2 goals, 4 tackles, 4 clearances, and 481 metres gain. And the final vote was to McDonald, who had 4 goals, 15 disposals, 8 marks, and 249 metres gain. There were other players that could have received votes, including Gordon, McInerney, or Nick Dacos. The third game of the week was between Essendon and Hawthorn, at which 73,805 people attended the match. The final score was Essendon 17 goals 5 107 to Hawthorn 11 goals 17 83. The Bombers won by 24 points. Essendon was very accurate with the kicking, and the same can't be said for Hawthorn. Hawthorn had more scoring shots of 28 to 22. However, as they say, poor kicking is poor football. The best players for Essendon were McGrath, Stringer, Perkins, Wright, and new recruit from North Melbourne, McKay. The best players for the Hawks were Warpel, D'Ambrosio, Weddle, and new Collingwood recruit, Ginnivan. The goal kickers for Essendon were 4 goals to Stringer, 3 goals to Langford, 2 goals to Wright, Perkins and Golfy, and singles to Gresham, Caldwell, Durham and Menzies. The goal kickers for the Hawks were 3 goals to Moore, 2 goals to Ginnivan, Chol, and singles to Gunston, Warpel, Eamon and Lewis. The game was close for most of the day, with the Bombers leading at quarter time by 4 points and 7 points at 3/4 time. The Bombers kicked away in the last quarter by scoring 5 goals to 2. This could have been a lot different if the Hawks had kicked straight. The stats showed Essendon winning the stoppages. Hitouts, they were +11, +9 in clearances. The Hawks were +6 inside 50, but Essendon were more efficient when the ball was inside their 50 at 51 to 49%. My 3-2-1 for the Brownlow are 3 to Zach Merritt, who had 31 disposals, 6 contested possessions, and 338 metres gained. 2 votes to Moore, who had 17 disposals, 3 goals and 4 tackles, and 1 vote to Warpel, who had 28 disposals, 10 contested, and 483 metres gained. The next game is GWS versus North Melbourne, at which 8,034 people attended the match in West Sydney. The final score was GWS 17 goals 19 121 to North Melbourne 13 goals 4 82. The Giants won by 39 points. The best players for the Giants were Hogan, Whitfield, Tom Green, Cogniglio, Kelly, and Callaghan. The best players for the Kangaroos were Sheasel, Powell, Davies, Uniacke, Fisher, and Larkey. The goal kickers for the Giants were 6 goals to Hogan, 3 goals to Riccardi, 2 goals to Cadman, Kelly, and Brown, and 1 goal to Bedford and Tom Green. The goal kickers for the Kangaroos were 3 to Larkey, 2 goals to Curtin, Stevenson, and Dersma, and singles to Serha, Ford, Shields, and ex-Airy. The Giants led from start to finish, with Hogan kicking 6 goals and collecting 18 disposals. The Giants were led by Tom Green, who had 37 disposals, 6 clearances, 1 goal and 8 tackles, with the upper midfielders of Coniglio and Whitfield, who had 30 and 29 disposals, respectively. The Roos had Luke Davies-Uniacke and Tom Powell with 29 disposals, respectively. Sadly for the Roos, Goda ruptured his Achilles and is now out for the season. Overall, the Giants had 63 more disposals, 32 more contested possessions, and 14 more inside 50s. My 3-2-1 for the Brownlow are 3-2 Tom Green, who had 37 disposals, 6 clearances, 1 goal, 9 tackle, and 497 metres gain. 2 votes to Coniglio with 30 disposals, 5 tackles, 4 clearances, 548 metres gain, and 2 goal assists. And 1 vote to Kelly, who had 24 disposals, 2 goals, 4 tackles, 2 clearances, and 385 metres gain. The next game is between Geelong and St Kilda, at which 39,352 people attended the game. The final score was Geelong 10 goals 16, 76 to St Kilda 9 goals 14, 68. The Cats had won by 8 points. The best players for the Cats were Holmes, Dangerfield, Dempsey, Stewart, Cameron and Duncan. The best players for the Saints were Wanganeen Willera, Steele, Marshall, Membray, Bonner and King. The goal kickers for the Cats were 3 goals to Dempsey, 2 goals to Cameron and singles to Dangerfield, Tui, Close and Olivia Henry. The goal kickers for the Saints were 3 goals to Membray, 2 goals to King and Wilson on debut, and singles to Sharman and Philippou. Geelong won by 8 points, with the Saints getting within a goal before a long bomb from Dangerfield to finish off the game. He had led the Cats with 25 disposals, including 9 tackles, 8 clearances, and 580 metres gained. Holmes and Tanner Bruin had 24 and 20 disposals, respectively. For the Saints, new Port Adelaide recruit Bonner had 28 disposals, including 3 tackles and 663 metres gained, followed by Steele and Wanganeen Miller, who both had 25 disposals each. Overall, the Cats had 17 more disposals, 16 more uncontested possessions, 19 more inside 50s, and 8 less turnovers. My 3-2-1 for the Brownlow are 3 to Dangerfield, who had 25 disposals, 8 clearances, 1 goal, 6 tackles, and 580 metres gained. 2 votes to Cameron with 21 disposal, 2 goals, 7 marks, and 1 clearance. And 1 vote to Steele, who had 25 disposal, 6 tackles, 9 clearances, and 428 metres gained. The next game is between Gold Coast and Adelaide, at which 11,466 people attended the match. The final score was Gold Coast 8 goals 12, 60 to Adelaide 8 goals 6, 54. The Suns won by 6 points. The best players for the Suns were Rao, Powell, Anderson, Miller, Flanders and Ballard. The best players for the Crows were Rankin, Mick A. Laney, Rochelle, Crouch, Laird and Dawson. The goal kickers for the Suns were 2 goals to Roses and Ainsworth, and singles to Anderson, Humphrey, Rao and Berry. The goal kickers for the Crows were 3 goals to Rochelle, 2 goals to Rankin and Keys, and a goal to Berry. Gold Coast won by 6 points, led from the start to finish. The final scoreline had flattened the Crows. The Crows were second to the contest for majority of the game. It was only the last 8 minutes when the Crows turned the switch on. They were down by 31 points and kicked the last 4 goals, but it was too little too late. The Suns had midfielders finding plenty of the ball, with Flanders and Anderson both hitting 35 disposals, with both Rao and Miller both finding the ball 29 times. For the Crows, Crouch, Laird and Dawson had 30, 29 and 26 disposals respectively. Overall, the Suns had 7 more disposals, 1 more centre clearance, 29 uncontested possessions, and 5 less turnovers. My 3-2-1 for the Brownlow are 3 to Anderson, who had 35 disposals, 8 clearances, 1 goal, 5 tackles, and 781 metres gained. 2 votes to Rao with 29 disposal, 1 goal, 10 tackles, 9 clearances, with 528 metres gained. And 1 vote to Rochelle, who had 17 disposals, 3 goals, 3 tackles, 1 clearances, and 325 metres gained. The next game was between Melbourne and the Western Bulldogs at the MCG. The final score was Melbourne 16 goals 13 109 to the Bulldogs 9 goals 10 64. The Demons won by 45 points. The best players for Melbourne were Oliver, Petrarca, Gawn, May, and new St Kilda recruit in Jack Billings. The best players for the Bulldogs were Treloar, English, Bontempelli, and Liberatore. The goal kickers for Melbourne were 3 goals to Van Rooyen and Chandler, 2 goals to Pickett, Brown, and Neil Bullen, and singles to Winey, Billings, Salem, and Petrarca. The goal kickers for the Bulldogs were 2 goals to Ugo Hagen and singles to Norton, Lobb, Waitman, Granville, West, Gallagher, and Bontempelli. Melbourne won by 45 points and led for 75% of the game. The Bulldogs jumped to a 4 goals to 2 lead before the Demons kicked 5 consecutive goals. The Demons finished off the match with the last 3 goals. The Demons were led by Oliver with 35 disposals, with Petrarca and Gawn each collecting 29 and 26 disposals respectively. For the Dogs, it was Liberatore and Treloar with 32 and 31 disposals respectively. Overall, the Demons had more disposals, plus 11 hitouts, 2 more clearances, 23 more uncontested possessions, and 8 less turnovers. My 3-2-1 for the Brownlow are 3 to Olivia, who had 35 disposal, 6 clearances, 2 tackles, and 589 metres gained. 2 votes to Petrarca with 29 disposal, 1 goal, 2 tackles, 5 clearances, and 512 metres gained. And 1 vote to Liberatore, who had 32 disposal, 1 tackle, 9 clearances, and 423 metres gained. The next game was between Port Adelaide and West Coast at Adelaide Oval on the Sunday, the 17th of March. The final score was Port Adelaide 16 goals 24 120 to West Coast 10 goals 10 70. The Power won by 50 points. The best players for Port Adelaide were Dixon, Soldo, Rosie, Butters, Horne-Francis, Bergman, and Houston. The best players for West Coast were McGovern, Reid on debut, Yeo, Williams, and Cripps. The goal kickers for Port Adelaide were 3 goals to Dixon, 2 goals to Soldo, Horne-Francis, Rosie, Farrell, and Jew, and singles to Burne-Jones, Butters, and Rioli. The goal kickers for the Eagles were 3 goals to Petruccelli, 2 goals to Waterman and Williams, and singles to Darling, Cripps, and Dugan. Port Adelaide won by 50 points and led for 100% of the game. New Port Adelaide captain Rosie dominated with 27 disposals, whereas his wife's captain Butters collected 27 disposals as well. Wines also chipped in with 23 disposals and had 5 clearances for the Power. Yo and Hunt both collected 20 disposals for the Eagles. Overall, the Power had 65 more disposals, plus 19 in hitouts, 5 more clearances, 5 more uncontested possession, and 13 less turnovers. My 3-2-1 for the Brownlow are 3 to Rosie, who had 27 disposals, 2 goals, 6 clearances, 10 marks, and 411 metres gained. 2 votes to Butters with 27 disposals, 1 goal, 2 tackles, 2 clearances, and 342 metres gained. And 1 vote to Horn Francis, who had 20 disposals, 2 goals, 3 tackles, 4 clearances, and 256 metres gained. The last game of the week is between Fremantle and Brisbane Lions. The final score was Fremantle 14 goals 9-93 to Brisbane Lions 10 goals 10-70. The Dockers won by 23 points. The best players for Fremantle were Sarong, Brayshaw, Tracy, Amos, Ryan, and Jackson. The best players for the Lions were Bailey, McCluggage, Danaher, Hitwood, and Dunkley. The goal kickers for Fremantle were 4 goals to Amos, 3 goals to Tracy, 2 goals to Jackson, and singles to Switkowski, Walters, Banfield, and Cox. The goal kickers for the Lions were 3 goals to Hitwood and Danaher, 2 goals to Bailey, and singles to McCarthy and Zorko. Fremantle won by 23 points. The Lions had a hot start to the game and kicked the first 4 goals of the game. Then Fremantle replied with the next 8 goals to take a 4-goal lead into the 6-minute mark of the third quarter. The Lions were not able to catch up to Fremantle. Sarong dominated with a game-high 46 disposals, followed by Ryan and Brayshaw with 33 and 32 disposals respectively. The highest ball winner for the Lions was Dunkley with 26 disposals. Both teams had injuries, with injuries to McDonald, Cox and Warner for the Dockers, and Gardner and McKenna for the Lions. Overall, the Dockers had 40 more disposals, -8 inside 50s, +7 in clearances, 22 more uncontested possession, and 4 less turnovers. My 3-2-1 for the Brownlow are 3 to Sarong, who had 46 disposal, 10 clearances, 6 marks, 7 tackles, 1 goal assist, and 433 metres gained. 2 votes to Ryan with 33 disposal, 10 marks, 1 clearances, and 817 metres gained. And 1 vote to Luke Jackson, who had 18 disposal, 2 goals, 4 marks, 1 tackle, 30 hitouts, 2 clearances, and 108 metres gained. My Brownlow votes after round 1 are 5 votes to Matt Rao and Tom Green from Gold Coast and GWS respectively, and 4 votes to both Sydney players in Isaac Henley and Chad Warner. That's the end, and thanks for watching. Please subscribe, hit the like button, and comment on my channel. Every subscriber will be appreciated.